This is Thomas, and this is Maurice. Just two regular ugly guys from the Netherlands for graphic design, to which they both said, "Fuck this, I want to be a 3D animator," sleeping in one room on a couch on the floor. If one of them brought a date, the other guy had to fuck off and look for another room to crash. Sad time. Proud to have you on board, and we are excited for all that is yet to come. Whatever that might be, it definitely will explode. They even went as far as to construct separate non-smoking rooms in their bomb shelters. What a luxury to have. Your own non-smoking bomb shelter, while the city above you is turned into one big ashtray. Priorities. To be fair, in a few cases, Hitler was outmatched in evilness by one certain individual. To be a general serving under Hitler's command was actually a better position to be in than being a general serving Stalin. You might be guessing where this is going. Yep, if you fucked up with Stalin breathing down your neck, you could be pretty sure to end up in a ditch with a skull looking like a bowling ball. In contrast, Hitler mostly just sacked his generals for being dumbasses, not executing them in mass numbers just to make a point. It went swimmingly for Germany in the beginning, and later in the war, still swimmingly, yet in another sense of the word. Give me more U-boats and I can win the war for you in Europe. And another guy or admiral called Raider said, "I can do that too, but with big giant battleships that makes your penis look bigger." Needless to say, Raider won that argument, only for Hitler to have his giant penis image shattered with the sinking of his prestige ship, the Bismarck. Sat back. Meat grinder, consisting of multiple U-boats group-raping Allied convoys, made the losses even worse for the Allies, losing more than 200 ships in just 7 months. Germans call this period the happy times. When a bunch of Nazis call something happy, you can assume it's not going to be fun for everyone. And not fun it was. Where standard procedure for U-boat commanders was to scuttle their U-boat and prevent the capture of any hardware to the enemy. I guess for Herr Lemp, scuttling and not scuttling a U-boat was just as confusing as torpedoing and not torpedoing a passenger liner. After failing to destroy his vessel, he jumped from the lifeboat back into the water to fix his mistake, only for him to drown minutes later because he, well, also fucked up the swimming part. He was going godlike on the Germans, teabagging U-boats. More meters and a subtle bump, and whoops, landing got fucked. Spacecraft got fucked, plan B to Z pretty much fucked. You've just built yourself a cozy little shelter, and you've done some decoration, a warm bed, some other furniture, lots of books to read, and above all, a massive amount of porn to also read. The first tank prototype was getting the name Little Willy. Yes, a very well-suited name that just shouts out fear, chaos, and destruction. The Italian and Japanese tanks were among the worst of the bunch. If you don't agree, yes, you can leave a comment down below. And no, we will of course not read it, especially during the closing stages of the war. By the way, interesting name for a new tank, considering the Germans are always so itchy with everything relating to their past. And yet, they can now just copy-paste a Nazi tank name straight from World War II like it's a fucking Call of Duty game. Meanwhile, outside of Europe, battles were fought between Allied colonial-controlled countries in Africa and German-occupied territories. However, most European countries did not give a fuck about Africa, and even argued to collaborate to keep repressing the indigenous population. Does that sound a bit like racism to you? Now, on to a more serious note. The Ottomans also threatened the British Army by trying to butt-plug the Suez Canal. Basically, a visit from the VOC to an unknown stretch of land could go down in a few different ways. 1. Hello, we would like to stick around, but we are too much in a rush. This can be considered a good day for the locals. 2. Hello, we really like your land. Oh, thank you. No, you don't get it. We really like your land. 3. Hello, we not only really like your land, but we would also like to trade. Oh, sounds fair. What would you like to trade? Well, how about we trade all of you? Franz Reichelt in 1912 became the first person to succeed in this endeavor. Clad in a parachute suit, he leapt from the Eiffel Tower and flew for... Oh, no, my mistake. The script specifies dying, not flying. My apologies, Franz. A Dutch guy named Anthony Farker, sorry for the name, invented the synchronized machine gun that could shoot its bullets without destroying the plane's own propeller. Pretty useful, as it turned out. But still, a KD of 80 to 1, cool stats for a tombstone. Germans, on the other hand, had this guy, Luftwaffe-eating Goering, shouting out inconsistent and confusing commands like some frustrated and annoyed chubby man on a diet. Which he wasn't. On a diet, I mean. So he was frustrated, annoyed, and chubby, just not on a diet. NATO codenamed the MiG-15 as the Faggot. The plane was easy to recognize by its distinctive large round hole in the front of the fuselage, which clearly has nothing to do with its codename Faggot. Oh, the name is Fagot. So that's Fagot and not Faggot. Sorry for that. The F-15 Eagle has been in service longer than your mum and still looks very attractive. It even finished off more pilots than your mum by shooting down 104 enemy planes. Despite many of them ejecting prematurely, joking aside, shooting down that many enemy planes is obviously an impressive air-to-air kill-death ratio. Its way into the new F-117 Nighthawk. Where the fuck is it? Oh, stealth, right. You can compare these fighters to your new iPhone, but then on steroids and without the sweatshops, and being able to fly beyond Mach 2, and have a lot of apps on it, like Jetflix, Instabang, Facecook, Ali Bye Bye, Spotify, and Air TNT. Fun tech to drive. All of these apps can be found in the F-22 Raptor and the F-35 Lightning II, except for the French. They fly the Dassault Rafale, an aircraft with an internal fuel tank containing 4,500 litres of red wine. It carries a payload of 4 giant baguettes, or it carries an 80-foot-long white banner. We're sorry, France, we did it again because, well, we just can't resist. We hope you enjoyed this turbulent story about the evolution of fighter planes. Adieu. Maria. Well, have you seen Madonna recently? Or Joe Biden nibbling on small little children? That's how we got here in the first place. Turns out Sleepy Joe is our zombie zero. And now we have a giant horde of they-Democrats coming to feast on our living souls. Of Texas, US. So, why here? Well, for starters, Texas has more guns than it does racists. And that's saying something. And we need a lot of cheap Mexican slaves, workers, to complete this big undertaking rapido. You're over 300 pounds and you sit on one, points. Although it might still bite you in the ass and turn you, so maybe forget that last one. Let's imagine that for some reason the zombies made it all the way up. Probably because we ran out of nates and minigun rounds. 6,000 rounds per minute, go figure. Now, I could tell you that we can just fly to another fortress that we built on the ocean somewhere. But then you will probably ask, why did you not go there in the first place? To which I can only say, I don't know. But what about all the other movies where they could just move their asses to an oil rig or whatever, huh? Stop asking difficult questions. Our videos are made with the sole purpose of making everyone dumber than they already are. So, congratulations on wasting your time yet again watching this video. See you at the next one, and in the meantime, do not die. Because we need active subscribers to keep this thing going. What about a nuclear warhead on a mortar round? Why not? For sure, you don't have to worry about your rounds missing the target because this anti-everything-in-front-of-it device doesn't know any near misses. Hell, why not do a wheelie and use it as an anti-air gun as well? Now, I know we constantly make jokes about the reputation of the French military, but you can't just show us a moped with a fucking naval gun slapped to it and expect us to keep straight faces. Emerged for a chemical weapon that will release pheromones, causing soldiers to get sexually aroused and attracted to individuals of the same sex. Which is a nice way of saying they dropped their guns and started to suck each other's cocks in anger. How do you make a war movie about that? Can you imagine a soldier storming an enemy position only to find a bunch of soldiers occupied in some mutual fellatio? And the Oscar goes to... In the end, the project was considered impractical and unethical. Funny, bombing civilian targets every few years in Goat-Fuckistan is okay, but turning people gay is a bit much. The Romans hoped to achieve success by completing these steps. Step 1. Getting the pigs panicked, which worked because they were on fucking fire. So forget about a quick shoot, in and out while flashing around your big long gun. Wait, that sounded a bit gay. Anyways, back to Nazi terror weapons. After being moved back to England, his father found out what his son was up to. It goes without saying that Daddy was very pissed. A year later, he married Countess Friedricha Maria Caroline Henrietta Rosa Sabina Franziska Fugger von Babenhausen, the eldest daughter of Karl Ludwig Fugger von… never mind. Someone's dad. Before putting him in an Italian tailored suit, he protested, saying, "I don't want to look like a gigolo. Apparently you can shoot this man a dozen times, blow off his arm, and pepper his body with shrapnel. Just don't put him in an Italian tailored suit, or you will hear about it." The North Vietnam troops fought under the leadership of Ho Chi Minh, a guy who had his pubic hair transplanted onto his chin. The North Vietnamese soldiers and the Viet Cong, led by Pubic Chin Minj, could lose more blood being covered in leeches than fucking bullet wounds. Of course, the real nasty part of the ordeal was the countless booby traps placed by the Viet Cong. One step forward by a soldier could result in the following outcomes: bamboo spikes in the bottom of your foot, bamboo spikes in the side of your foot, bamboo spikes in the side of your leg, bamboo spikes in the side of your chest, bamboo spikes into your skull, bamboo spikes into your friends. But don't worry, this is just the bamboo part. An unfortunate leap into a snake pit was not uncommon, including many tripwires for grenades on the floor or in the trees. Ducking down for any incoming rounds could be tricky as well, since rounds of ammo were also buried in the jungle floor set to fire on impact. A hornet nest as a weapon sounded like something out of a comic book, but this device was also a legit booby trap used by the Viet Cong. If you were one of the lucky ones not to get caught in the world's most creative and macabre assault course, then don't forget about the potential you as a soldier had to just step on a mine, which almost sounds boring at this point. Via a supply road called the Ho Chi Minh Trail, or Pubic Chin Minj Trail. More bombs were dropped on this road than the US used against Germany and Japan in World War II, which means they used a lot of fucking bombs on the road. Is frantically trying to keep their poles straight up, which is a weird sentence, I do realise. A positive element to all this. Whether you need the referee to end the fight or you are in dire need of serious medical attention, you are in the perfect place to make a quick phone call. More and more people start to make weird faces while entering a world of pain. The side effects of eating the world's hottest peppers are no silly joke. Peppers like the Carolina Reaper can cause great overstimulation of the nerves. Basically, your nerves are telling your brain that Satan is deep-throating his flaming trident down your throat, and he politely asks you to just swallow. Due to poor visibility and some impressive shitty navigation skills by the pilots, the plane started to descend for landing while still flying above the snow-covered ridges. Turbulence was now rocking the aircraft more and more, and the young guys of the rugby team were joking about how they were about to crash into the Andes, which sounds a bit ironic considering what was about to happen to everyone on board. By this time, the clouds were moving behind the plane, and instead of seeing a runway, the pilots enjoyed a beautiful panoramic view of a 3,000-foot rock formation right in front of them. With roaring engines, the rear part of the aircraft struck a ridge, scattering the fuselage and wings. Weirdly enough, the impact turned the front part of the fuselage into the world's largest bobsled, while the tail section went skydiving together with its passengers. The front part violently buried itself in a deep blanket of snow, killing and wounding several passengers, including the pilots. Soon after, the pilot that was still alive mumbled some words about how they passed the Andes Mountains over Curico, which was obviously bullshit and a clear indication of who was fucking up the navigation part. Not that it mattered a lot, because the surviving passengers found themselves stranded on a 12,000-foot high snow-covered plain surrounded by nothing but mountains. Here that people maybe shouldn't live in slavery. This was received in the South as if someone had just taken away their lollipop. South Carolina kicked off the succession and declared, "You know what? Fuck y'all, we're out." Other southern states thought, "Get bent, y'all. Piss off, y'all. Y'all can shove it. Drop dead, y'all. Y'all kiss my big ol' southern ass. Y'all can take your shit and go. Go to hell, y'all. Y'all go biz up a rope. Eat a bag of dicks, y'all, and screw you guys, y'all." And join the new Confederate States of America. Another important factor was control of the Mississippi River. The Union launched an Anaconda Plan. No, I hear what you're thinking, but that wasn't it. It was a plan to surround and exhaust the South by cock-blocking. Cutting off their supply of weapons and goods.